it feels so good to be home.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get it.
All right.
Fire line is now clear. Can do.
It feels good to be back, yo.
I say it's been a while since we said that. It's been a while. Hey, for the boys and girls, children of all ages, people that been viewing and checking us out, seeing, here, being absorbing everything that we do here thus far. Hey, we are officially back in the mix, but we never left. Not really. We just had to take a pause. You know what I'm saying? Move around the state a little bit, find some new ways of employment. You know what I'm saying? Finish drinking these bottles, and just overall life, taking me in charge of iPhone a little bit. That's all. But we back in the mix, ready to talk these tracks and do what we do best. So without further ado, we are the we back. We are the B Connection. And hold on. What's wrong with my eyes?
What's up? Where we at?
You tearing up. You tearing up.
Well, unfortunately, I'm seeing visions of gold. So to the left, you know what I'm saying, we have singer-songwriter, producer extraordinaire.
What's up, everybody? It's so good to be back. I am Alexa Gold. Yo, what's up? What's up, y'all?
And to the bottom, we have our resident ghostwriter, our resident lyricist, our resident flame torch. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name of Azrael, DiCaprio. Raw Deal Squad Entertainment is always in the building. The Beat Connection is back, baby. What up?
Oh, we are back. And y'all already know who I am. Mr. Nobody himself in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? The can-do kid. Shizz. Ready to get this thing going without further ado. Let's go ahead and get into this track. Now, hey, a man once told me, right? It's not about how hard you hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Keep coming back.
And keep moving forward, sir. So, I don't know about y'all, but when I hear this particular track, you know what I'm saying, and y'all being y'all, the listeners, the seers and the viewers and all of that, I think growing up as a kid, right, and if you was coming up in the 80s, you know, watching flicks and all that kind of stuff, one thing that was a mainstay in all 80s flicks was the montage. The montage. And for y'all, for those of you that don't know what the montage is, go ahead and Google it and look it up, and you'll find out real fast, right? But with the montage always came that soundtrack, that score. And the king of montage scores during that time was one, Mr. Bill Conti.
Yes, sir.
And fortunately enough, there was a young brother or a group of young brothers who happened to hear that sound and was like, yo, you know what? During this period, I think he was kind of dubbed the king of sampling at one point in time.
Yeah.
And then we going to dig into these tracks, and we're going to introduce y'all to who all we talking about, who all we discussing and all that, because I have some deep, heartfelt emotion with this track as well. And if I get a chance, I'll go ahead and visit that and tell y'all this story as well later on in the conversation.
Oh, we definitely telling that story.
You want me to go ahead and go into it?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Don't rush.
So with all that being said, y'all know how we do. Who wants to go first?
Karee, you got it.
All right. So, where do I start? Do I start with how...
Wherever you feel like it, sir.
Do I start with how important Rocky is to Philadelphia? Or do I start with how important Puff is to, I don't even want to just say music, influence, Black history. We're going to get there. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Listen.
Okay.
Let's start with Bill Conti.
Let's go.
Now, when I was doing some research on, of course, we know who Bill Conti is. If you've seen the Rocky franchise, he's done, I think, all of them except for 4. think he's done all the Rocky scores except for 4.
Yeah, I think for like the later joints.
Yeah. And I don't think he did Balboa, but he might have. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, if you've seen the Rocky movies, any one of them, pick one. The music drives the film.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You know how we always talk about how music is such an integral part of our emotions. I was watching an interview with Mr. Conti. Let me be respectful. I was watching an interview with Mr. Conti, and he said him and what's the director's last name? I forget. John G. I forget how to pronounce his last name. The director of the film. I'll get it, when I get past this point. Will Conti and the director were sitting in a screening. They hadn't screened the movie before. Will said, I knew I had something because the audience was cheering, standing up, giving applause to scenes from the movie that his music was playing during. You never, as an artist, you never know when you have one. The people tell you.
Right.
It might feel like one in the moment, like, dang, this could go. But the people will always tell you. Funny little side note, and I'm not going to be long-winded. We're just going to stick on Rocky right now. Funny little story. Did you know Rocky made $225 million in the box office?
No.
Did you know that Rocky was only made on $1 million?
Right.
Yeah, I knew it was like kind of like low budget as far as funding.
Of that $1 million, Will Conti and everybody he hired to make that score only had $25,000 to spend. That's the composer fee that goes to Will Conti, and it covers all of the artists that he has to hire to make work.
Right.
That's pennies.
But it ain't pennies now.
So I bring that up to say, it's always funny how big business treats music. Of course, you have to get the job. So I'm not knocking it that way. What I'm saying is there's an ongoing narrative of musicians being robbed. We'll get there though. I'm gonna let the floor go and give it to Miss Lex or Shizz or whoever wants to go. But I don't want to get that out.
Actually, it's incredible because, I guess maybe not the urban legend per se, but just the tale around Rocky being made is that it was very much like an out-of-pocket, very much an independent film.
Right.
Yeah, very much so.
To know that it was made in that way, and then it kind of like, of course, you never know how you can put your heart and soul into something and you just don't know what the legacy is going to be. But the legacy ended up becoming so much more than I think anybody at that time associated with the film really knew what was going to happen.
It's the perfect underdog story.
Oh, yeah.
But told from an underdog's perspective of development.
Right. And for him, for Stallone to be the underdog, to talk about the underdog and portray the underdog is just like, it was just a sort of like these different elements, that at the time, everybody was just using their talents to bring something to life, but to see how it just like basically eclipsed and evolved even their wildest imagination. It's incredible to see. It's just an incredible story. And in terms of what, Mr. Conti as a composer, what he brought to the film, I can understand why people had the reaction they did. The audiences had the reaction because the music, when I went back and listened to the music again, you know, for this episode, you know, it's so moving, it's so sweeping, it's so the grandeur in the strings and the melodies. I mean, it's just something, it takes you to new heights. It makes you think that you could fly, that you can, you know, run as fast as you want to, that you can fight like you want to. Like, it just brings such emotion to, I mean, from beginning to end. And really, I'm thinking about, I know Rocky is, you know, several films long, but I'm really thinking about like that first film.
one.
Yeah, the very first
that first film.
Oh, by the way, real quick, I don't want to
go ahead.
John G. Avildsen. That was the director's name. That was going to bother me the whole episode.
Okay, good.
Because I didn't want to chop his last name up.
Avildsen. It might be pronounced slightly differently, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. Avildsen.
Oh, okay, cool. You know, and just for, you know, Mr. Conti to create, like, because the song that we're talking about is Going the Distance. And even for that, I mean, the music for the particular scenes in which Rocky was training, you know, just it is just so much about, you know, what he did for that first film that really just cannot be understated. And of course, you know, he's a composer. He's also was the band leader for I believe the Academy Awards. You know, he's done so much in his own career, and he's still working. You know, so I always want to try to like point out, like, you know, people are still working out here. You know, people are still really thriving and still creating. But definitely for that particular film, it is one of those perfect marriages of like a movie and its music. I cannot imagine Rocky, you know, the first film without Bill Conti.
Like mad dry, right?
No, you know what it's like? It's almost like an independent version of Star Wars. Star Wars doesn't work without the music. It works, but you need the music.
Right.
Rocky was I hate to say low budget, but it was a very dialed back, dressed down version of what Star Wars was. The music drives you to the film.
And also, let me add to just one last thing. When we're talking about like the music of, let's say, late 70s, early 80s, we're talking about kind of like a marriage, especially when it comes to like the theme music of particular films, like even for Star Wars. It's like that classical, very theatrical, like mix.
It was real big, grandiose, like
grandiose.
Yes, but that comes from classical ideas. You know, but there's also this mix of jazz as well. So you got like this integration of like jazz and classical elements in just this like really big bombastic, you know, sort of sound that really comes from, I want to say, you know, probably primarily a classical background. So I just want to kind of bring perspective to that as well, because I mean, I love all kinds of music, and you know, I don't listen to classical as much, but I have listened to classical, and so I understand, you know, like crescendos and you know how music ascends and descends, and just, you know, silence, the way the silence plays inside the music as well, and you know, there's just so much to it that I think can't be, you know, we just can't forget how much sometimes even classical music is so pertinent to like, you know, bringing a film to life.
And so, and I'm gonna let Shizz chime in here, but I just want to piggyback on what you're saying. The reason that music is so important to film is you can see a scene and the scene be powerful.
Preach.
It's what you hear behind the scene.
Say it.
That's like, that's what gives you chills. We mentioned Star Wars, right? I know we're talking Rocky, but we mentioned Star Wars. You can't mention Star Wars without talking about Darth Vader. Darth Vader enters a room. Without the Imperial March theme song, it doesn't mean as much. Rocky running through the streets, reaching the art museum steps. Fam, if you ever walked up the art museum steps, you're humming the music
right.
in your head without even thinking about it.
It's like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, it's a perfect mix. It's a perfect mix. Shizz, we can go all day. Please chime in.
So it's funny, like I said, montages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to him, brother Malcolm.
I'm a big fan of the Rocky series. My personal favorites is probably a toss up between 3 and 4. Like,
okay.
But primarily, not only due to the film, but the music.
Yeah.
And really, like you said, music. A scene could be a scene, right? But when you add that background score and add that orchestra to it, it levels the scene up that much.
Yeah.
Big time.
Sometimes,
big time.
And sometimes you'll find yourself watching a movie or a film and going back to a particular scene, or at least for me anyway, I know I'll go back to a particular scene, not just to watch the scene, but more so to hear the music that was in the background.
Oh yeah.
Just so I've Googled songs before, scores and all of that, just so I can find out, hey, what's the name of that score that was played?
Right.
So, and the dope thing is, right, and I don't know about everybody else. Right?
Yeah.
The minute that those opening bells come on, I don't care whatever it is that you're doing. You could be making a sandwich. You could be on a calculator. You could be walking to the mailbox. But when you hear them opening bells and that song come on, you about to be in for the fight of your life.
Yeah, but I'm about to beat the brakes off this PB&J.
You're about to do something, or you getting ready to train for it.
Yeah, buddy.
It was like we said, there's emotions that are awakened during the duration of the William Conti track.
Yeah.
There's like, you felt like you trained. I'm making a sandwich. I trained my ass off to make this sandwich, right? I made the sandwich, but you know what? I lost, man. This sandwich wasn't as good as it was supposed to be. So you know what?
That's because you ain't keep your head moving.
So you know what? I'm gonna bounce back. I'm gonna get back to the gym. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna work on my smearing technique. Maybe I should press off, or whatever the case may be. And then you know what? I'm gonna go back to making that sandwich. But you know what? This sandwich is giving me a hard time. Even though I thought it was ready, this sandwich is giving me a hard time. But you know what? Because of the music that's going, and like it's a story in this score.
Yeah.
And then you get to that 15th round, and you know what? You go ahead and cut that sandwich at the diagonal, because you don't cut it square, you cut it diagonal because it's easier to bite into. And boom, all I want to do is I want the title, and I just want to find Adrian. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that is a very powerful track. And if you ever decide you want to make a sandwich again, test me on it. Play that song.
I've never heard of PB&J being described so eloquently.
You are hilarious.
I try to be.
Yo, that's a hilarious metaphor. I'm rolling though, because somebody gonna catch this combination. If it gotta be the end piece, that's just what it's gonna be.
I mean, but look, and then so now we transition, right, from the 70s, and we go to Puff Daddy featuring Notorious B.I.G. with Busta Rhymes on the hook.
Nice.
The No Way Out album, produced by Puff Daddy and his squad, the Hitmen, released in 1998. They sampled the Bill Conti track Going the Distance off the Rocky album, the original motion picture score, which was produced and composed by Bill Conti, which was released in 1976. Now,
shout out to Stevie J.
Right. Shout out everybody involved. Right. Now, I said I had a small story, and I'm gonna go through it real quick. I always say this track right here, right, has a person almost. It almost has like a personal place in my heart, right? And we all have small list of tracks, right? That we just like our tops, right? And one of those tracks for me has always been a Victory track. It's like Victory has always been like one of my all-time favorite tracks. But then, right, so I hear the song, boom, boom, boom. Man, this is a dope song. But now, let me explain to you, the people, why, you know what I'm saying, the connection to all of this, why our bond is so strong as a three-headed monster. Because the first concert that I ever went to, right? First concert I ever went to, this man on the bottom, him and his father took me. They took me to my first, and if you haven't already caught, right, that concert was the No Way Out tour. You know what I'm saying? Puff Daddy and the Family. And I just remember one of the main reasons, like, not only because you're a fan of music and all that, but I just knew I wanted to hear this track. I wanted to hear this joint. And when I got the chance to hear it, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, didn't get the opportunity to see Big do it, because unfortunately this was his last recorded verse for this track. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Big. But it was just hearing it, being there, absorbing it, you know what I'm saying? And we just rocking out, you know what I'm saying? And mind you, truth be told, I wasn't even supposed to be there. Just real talk, because I ain't even my aunt wasn't going. So I just kind of snuck off. But hey, I was risking it all because I just knew it was going to be worth it in the end. And I tell you, it was definitely worth it. So not only do I love this song, but I always have like this emotional connection to this track, because again, I got to share one of my very first concert experiences with this man below. And so shout out to my man, shout out to Pops for, you know what I'm saying, for inviting me out there in Philly to go see this No Way Out concert. You know what I'm saying? That was my first and last concert I ever been to. I went to the first one with this guy, and then I went to the last one not too long ago when they did the reunion. So yeah, special place in my heart for this track. So
all right, so I'm going to be long-winded when I tackle this. So I'm going to let Alexis go.
Well, you know, this track is a pretty powerful track, and I love the way, because I think I kind of want to focus more on just the fact of like how they took this song, and they put those drums behind it, right? And just really kind of created like the same energy, but like a different feel in terms of like going the distance and calling it victory, you know, and then knowing the connection in terms of, you know, this being Big's last recorded, you know, song, you know, for that album, you know, just realizing like for him, because he had like his, you know, the music that he's done, the legacy that, you know, he ended up creating through his own music. I mean, it's just so crazy how things work out, you know. Definitely, you know, rest in peace always to Big, but you know, it's just really powerful when you have like a song like this, and then you're hearing just like everybody's like verses and their energy on the song.
It's so hard.
It's the hardest record in the world. Like,
and also too, I mean, shout out to Busta Rhymes for just
you already knew I was gonna say something. I wouldn't let this conversation happen without giving a shout out to Busta. So.
Listen, Lex, I was gonna get there. But I'm glad you said it.
I just had to put it out because I was just like,
nah.
You know, Big's verse is cool, Puff is cool, but like Busta Rhymes on this joint is like,
we got the real life.
Right.
All right, we gotta fight. Somebody got to die now. Sorry.
yo, Busta Rhymes.
All he had to say was, "We got the real live." As soon as he said that, I'm like, "All right, I'm ready to fight. What's up?"
he just brings such incredible energy to the song. It's so crazy. And also too, the Hitmen were producers for Bad Boy, right? And you know, you had brought up Karee, I think it was you brought up Stevie J, which a lot of times, you know, especially in this current era of like TV, everybody recognizes him from that. But
that's why I wanted to shout him out. Because like
he was one of the producers for you know, for the song.
It was
besides Puff. Him and Puff. And it's just like, but he's a very talented producer. I mean, Stevie J's his history in music is deeper. Like, I mean, it's definitely way beyond anything that he's done as far as reality TV. You know, in terms of like what he's done musically, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like hip hop, R&B, he's definitely done some things and worked with some notable people. But for this song, I mean, yo, who would imagine? You know, I love like how, you know, we talk about these songs and we talk about these producers, and you're like, what would make you think to pull from this song to pull from that soundtrack, what would make you?
Hold on. I'm about to pull the ripcord so we can get started.
I'm just saying, like, yo, go ahead. To me, it's definitely one of the best songs from the album. You know, definitely one of the best songs from the album.
One of.
I mean, but real talk, right? If you think about it, think about what we do, right? As the B connection, right? We always say we're the super friends of sampling. And certain albums, you can have full conversations on the samples alone, because again, like we said, during that time, during like that late 90s time, like Diddy was like literally, him and his team was like literally known as like the kings of sampling for real.
All right,
so
let me chime in.
Go ahead, go for it.
That was the point I was getting ready to make. When Puff works with the Hitman, Puff and Dr. Dre work almost identically. The thing with Puff though is Puff can find a sample, and in finding that sample, he hears something that nobody else would be able to hear. Anybody could have taken Going the Distance.
Right.
It wouldn't sound the way it sounds without Puff. I'm on record multiple times. Dr. Dre is my favorite producer. I don't know if Dr. Dre takes the Bill Conti score and does that. That record there are very few records in music. I won't even just say hip hop. There are very few records in hip hop in music, I'm sorry, that I think are perfect.
Right.
Victory is a flawless record.
Let me ask you this though, real quick.
Good.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, right? So the Bill Conti track was used for Rocky, correct? The original Rocky.
Right.
When Creed came out, how come they didn't? Did they use the Victory? How come? Like, I would have liked for them to have used that.
That would have been dope. I don't think they did.
Yeah, right. So
I could be wrong. I'm a little far removed from the last time I saw Creed.
And again, for anybody that's watching, you're more than welcome to comment below and let us know, you know what I'm saying, if or wasn't using any kind of like TV spots or anything like that. But I can't remember the Victory track being used for Creed, but I felt like that would have been dope.
Or even Going the Distance, I don't think it was used.
I feel like
they used something similar. It wasn't Going the Distance, but they did.
Okay.
But I feel like the Victory track should have been used for Creed, because I just feel like it would have been dope. But
that would have been dope. Yeah. All right, so remember I said I was going to be long-winded, because I have to piggyback on what Sean said about the concert and going to that concert.
Oh, yeah.
And,
talk to him.
Yo, off Victory for 1 second. Do you remember Cameron and Jim Jones running through the crowd?
You know what I know.
Cameron and Jim Jones were the opening acts. Cam came out in a wife beater. He said, "Y'all don't know me. I'm Mace's cousin Cam." And then he did 357.
Okay.
I'll never forget that, because the idea who Cameron and Jim Jones are now.
Right.
Running past me, because my pop got us floor seats.
Right, yeah.
We was on the floor in that nigga. Like, we roll, them niggas rolled right by us.
Shout out to Pops.
Because it was Cam and Jimmy, and then it was Maya. Maya was the opening act too.
Oh, wow.
So, dog, I remember all that vividly.
Yeah.
So, I don't speak enough about Puff. And that's why I wanted to be a little long-winded here. Puff, I just watched the Mary J. Blige documentary, the one on Amazon. Either one of y'all see that?
I haven't seen it yet.
Puff and what Puff does with music is impeccable. Going back to Victory, from the moment that record starts, not just the Busta Rhymes hook, but the the sun don't shine forever.
Dog, back up. You got back up though.
No. I feel you. Because the intro, what we gonna do now? I know. I'm with you.
Turn me up.
But
My mic is.
he did it in the fam. Who you know do it better? Yeah, right. No matter what, we airtight. Don't make an ass out of yourself. Yo, Jadakiss wrote that verse.
Okay.
Jadakiss wrote that verse.
Okay.
I don't ever want to hear anybody speak ill of Jadakiss, and nobody does. But you know, it's people out there that don't give him his just due. Jadakiss, what he did for Puff, that's a perfect opening verse. I'll put that verse right next to Deck's verse on Triumph.
Oh yeah, talk to him.
Deck's verse on Triumph, we'll get there on another episode.
Right.
But Puff, that, hey yo, the sun don't shine forever. That verse is so crazy that when 50 and G Unit remade it, they almost kept it.
Ooh.
They flipped it a little bit.
Well, did they not? Because remember, they used 50 and Banks joint for like the official 2004 remix or whatever.
It was a freestyle, but it gained so much traction in New York that Puff made it the official remix on a Bad Boys Greatest Hits album.
And shout out to Banks because he went crazy on that joint too.
Banks Victory. Lloyd Banks' freestyle over Victory might be one of the greatest freestyles I've ever heard.
That joint was crazy. Like,
he went insane. But to Lex's point about Busta, we got the real life. All right, this is what we doing. Fun fact. I'm about to say Rocky was made on $1 million. Ask me how much the Victory video cost. If I'm not mistaken,
it was a little over two. It was a close to.
Yeah, wasn't it like 2 point something?
It was one of the most expensive videos, at that time.
So, listen to what's going on here. Puff, one of the most iconic movies of all time, only had $1 million budget.
Right.
Puff samples the Rocky soundtrack and makes a 2-point-something million video out of it. And the song is only about 5 minutes long.
The video is about 8 minutes.
Right. The video is a little longer. I think Hype Williams directed it.
Yeah.
And he had some stars in the
yeah. So you got to pay the star.
Yeah.
But just the irony of that.
Yeah.
The irony.
Check that on the direction. It was a Marcus. Excuse me if I say his name wrong. Marcus Nipsel or Nipsel or something like that. I do apologize. Yeah.
Oh, really? All right. Yeah. I don't know why I thought Hype.
Right, because remember during that period though, Hype Williams was the man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, my bad.
Yeah.
Thanks for the fact check.
Yeah.
Because I definitely want to give him credit for that. Because that's an amazing video.
Yeah, the concept behind this. They sample coincidentally, they sample the Running Man. You know what I'm saying? That was like the basic of that video or whatever. So it's a lot of little, because you got Dennis Hopper in there, Danny DeVito.
Right.
You got some people in here, so I'm sure, but believe it or not, a few of them they did it pro bono. They did it just off the strength that, you know what I'm saying, Diddy is my man, you know what I'm saying? We try and be in this video or whatever. So a dope video. Lex, you chomping it to get
No, I'm just it's just exciting to hear so much like being delved into in terms of like, you know, especially in regards to Puff's legacy in hip hop, because you know, sometimes it seems like, you know, people try to take his legacy away from him in a sense, or they don't really give him his props, and he's done so much.
You know what it is? It's the air quote business that he does with artists behind it.
Right.
And I mean, and that could be, we can have a discussion about that, but definitely in terms of like the culture, like hip hop, Black culture. No. I mean, Puff has done. I mean, I don't even have the words. He's done so much.
Hey yo, listen, check this out. You want to talk about Puff's influence? Puff discovered Derek Angele, right? You know who discovered Kanye West? No ID and Derek Angeletti.
Right. No ID, right.
Derek Angeletti is the mad rapper, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
You heard the mad. So the mad rapper, Derek Angeletti put out one album as the mad rapper. Kanye West has produced several tracks on it, or had produced several tracks on it. One featured Eminem. I completely forgot about that until I watched the Kanye documentary the other day.
Right.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So if you want to talk about Puff's family tree, you want to talk about Puff's influence. Say what you will about the business.
Right.
But musically, and what that man has done for. Hey yo, Mary J. Blige was just at the Super Bowl. That don't happen without Puff. and we don't get this track without Mr. William Conti. So
That's a fact.
the next time you go into your training, I'm trying to tell you people, I challenge you. You decide you're gonna make a sandwich next time, play that going the distance track, and
Nice
tell
call.
me you don't put a little extra effort into spreading that peanut butter and jelly. I promise you.
Nice callback. Nice callback.
So with all that being said, right?
Yeah.
Do we got any final thoughts on everything real quick?
Man, I mean, we could really spend another hour talking about not only Rocky and Mr. Conti and going the distance, but the time that could be put in talking about Puff, Biggie, Busta Rhymes, No Way Out, and his legacy, and just these two songs are just so incredible. And once again, also to shout out to Stevie J once again, because this track wouldn't be what it is without him and his musical expertise as well. So for me, it's definitely showing love where we need to. And I definitely appreciate, Karee, what you said about the family tree, remembering that legacy and remembering like how all of these, dots are being connected to create this incredible music and create incredible artists.
I'll be extremely brief. Going the Distance and Victory, both classic records, both suitable for any workout playlist.
Mm-hmm.
And both gentlemen, I believe, are still working. Puff and Stevie J and Will Conti,
yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just because somebody isn't in the public eye as much doesn't mean that they stop working.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of what we do and what artists do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? The music never stops.
Absolutely.
Right. And shout out to Busta, who played Victoria, the personified goddess of victory in Roman lore. You know what I'm saying? Gotta give a shout out to her. But with all that being said, Lex, go ahead and spit your bars, please.
It's so good to be back, y'all. Once again, please like, share, and subscribe, to our channel. Feel free to hit us up in the comments. Let us know what songs and samples you want us to talk about next. Yeah, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Till next time, to the next episode, to the next sample. Check us out.
Hey, Volume 2, Season 2, Return of the Beast.
Awesome.
We back in this mix. Same team, new samples.
New victories. We going in.
Hey,
man.
hard. Turn me up.
Turn me up.
Turn my mic up.
Peace, y'all.
Yeah, dude.